Hello and welcome to today's study. Today we will be looking at Isaiah chapter 4, which is titled The Branch of the Lord. And it's actually last time we ended with verse 1 of chapter 4. So this time we'll be continuing from verse 2. So Isaiah chapter 4 verse 2 says, "At that time the Lord's branch shall be very beautiful and great. The people still living in Israel will be proud of what the land grows." So as you can see, that means that the Lord's branch will be beautiful and great. The fruit of the land produce grown in Israel will be what makes the survivors of the exile, the people who are left back there in Israel, proud. Verse 3 reads, "Those who are still living in Jerusalem will be called holy. The names are recorded among the living in Jerusalem." So yeah, this is the people that are left in Zion in Jerusalem will be called holy. And now this doesn't mean that simply because they were left there in Jerusalem, in Zion, that they were made holy. It was that they were left in Zion or Jerusalem because they were holy. Because they were spared from God's punishment because they were holy. They were righteous. The Lord will wash away the filth from the women of Jerusalem. He will wash the blood, the stains out of Jerusalem, and clean the city of the spirit of fairness and the spirit of fire. That's what the NIV says, but the NIV and KJV says the Lord will wash away the filth of the daughters and son of Jerusalem. The phrase welcome to today's study. Today we'll be looking at Isaiah chapter 4, which is titled The Branch of the Lord. So since last time we finished at chapter 4 verse 1, because that was part of that section, today we'll be starting from chapter 4 verse 2. It is the beginning of this section, which is titled The Branch of the Lord. So the Lord's branch will be beautiful and great. The fruit of the land will produce, the fruit of the land, the produce grown in Israel, will be what makes the survivors of Israel, the survivors of the exile of Israel proud. Those who are left in Zion, who remain in Jerusalem, will be recorded among the living in Jerusalem, will be called holy. So this doesn't mean that simply because they were left in Zion or in Jerusalem doesn't mean that they were holy. It means that because they were holy, they were left in Zion in Jerusalem. Because they were holy and righteous, they were spared from God's punishment. The Lord will wash away the filth of the daughters of Zion. Well, some other versions say women of Zion. That is actually kind of a mistranslation. Well, not mistranslation, more of a, like they could have used a different word. Because, wait, let me finish it first. The Lord will wash away the filth of the women of Zion. He will cleanse the bloodstains of Jerusalem by a spirit of judgment and a spirit of fire. Now, actually, in the KJV, I think it says daughters of Zion. And we know that the phrase daughters of Zion, the term daughters of Zion, doesn't mean just the women of Zion. It means the Jewish people. So God will wash the bloodstains out of Jerusalem and clean the city with the spirit of judgment and spirit of burning. Now, the bloodstains of Jerusalem refers to the stains of blood on the leaders of Jerusalem, the blood of the innocent. Because as we know, as we have read earlier, they were not fair. They were making biased judgments and they were corrupt. God will clean the city with the spirit of fairness because the leaders of Jerusalem are unfair and had the blood of the innocent on them. The spirit of fire is like a recollection back to chapter 1, verse 25, which reads, I will turn my hand upon thee and purely purge away thy dross and take away all thy tin. Metal is purified by fire, dross. As mentioned before, is what is left after silver is purified. So God will remove the dross from us, the worthless impurities. Then the Lord will create over all of Mount Zion, and over those who assemble there, a cloud of smoke by day, and a glow of flaming fire by night. Over everything the glory will be a canopy. So this speaks of a similar covering, like the time during the time of the Exodus from Egypt. And so the KJV Study Bible, in its notes, it says, after the Exodus from Egypt, God guided Israel through the desert by a cloud and fire, which you can read in Exodus chapter 40, verse 38. And so which God represented God's mysterious and powerful presence with his people. Isaiah uses language to teach that the future remnant will again enjoy an intimate and assuring relationship with God after judgment. And we as Christians have the privilege of an intimate and assuring relationship with God through Jesus Christ. But as we know that this section isn't actually referring to us, rather it's referring to the people that have now gone to exile. So the exile is kind of the judgment, and now they have gone to them and come back, and now they have the temple rebuilt, and they can have the relationship with God through the high priest, the sacrifices. But then after the crucifixion, when the temple curtain is torn, and then Jesus is our new high priest, and there are no more sacrifices because this is the last sacrifice. And so we can again have that intimate and close relationship with God, but this time it's even closer because you don't have to go to the temple to do it because we are temples. The NIV reads, it will be a shelter and a shade from the heat of the day, and a refuge and a hiding place from the storm and rain. Now, the KJV says, there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime of the heat, and for a place of refuge, and for a covert from storm and from rain. Now, the word tabernacle means residence or dwelling place. And the New Century Version says, this covering will protect. Let's read that. This covering will protect the people from the heat of the sun and will provide a safe place to hide from the storm and rain. So it is speaking about the previously mentioned covering, which was a cloud of smoke and fire, which Previously, it was used by God to guide the people. Now, it says that God provides a cloud of smoke and fire to dwell in, live in, to be a refuge, a safe place where the people can be protected. And so the next section is Isaiah chapter 5, in verse 1 up to verse 7. So, verse 1 to 6 tells a story, an analogy that God uses to show the people of Israel the vineyard. So, verse 1 says, "Now I will sing for my friend a song about his vineyard." The NIV says, "I will sing for the one I love, a song about his vineyard." So this is Isaiah speaking now, and he says, "I will sing about the one I love," and the one he loves is God. He says he will sing about his vineyard, about God's vineyard, which is the people of Israel. "My loved one had a vineyard on a fertile hillside. Then he goes on to say, "He dug and cleared the field of stones. He planted the best grapevines there. He built a tower in the middle of it and cut out a winepress as well. And he hoped good grapes would grow there, but only the bad ones grew." The NIV says, "He dug it up and cleared of stones. He planted with the choicest vines, built a tower in it, cut out a winepress as well. Then he looked for a crop of good grapes, but it yielded only bad fruit." This is that just as someone cleans out the land, takes out the stones, prepares the vineyard, so it is ready to produce fruit. God brought Israel from Egypt, out of slavery. God prepared Israel to produce good fruit. And he looked for good grapes, looked for good produce, good fruit, but only got bad fruit. Only bad fruits grew. "Now you dwellers in Jerusalem and people of Judah, judge between me and my vineyard. What more could have been done for my vineyard than what I have done for it? When I looked for good grapes, why did it yield only bad?" So now Isaiah is asking the people. He's telling the people, judge between him and his vineyard, between my friend's vineyard. The NCV says that Isaiah is saying now, "My friend says, you people living in Jerusalem, the people of Judah, judge between me and my vineyard. What more could I have done for my vineyard than I have already done? Although I expected good grapes to grow, why were there only bad ones?" So I'm going to ask you this question, actually. Why, when God planted this vineyard, he expected good fruits? He planted good seeds, cleaned out everything, did everything, but only bad fruits grew. Well, verse 5 says, "Now I will tell you what I'm going to do to my vineyard. I will take away its hedge, and it will be destroyed. I will break down its wall, and it will be trampled." So Isaiah now says that the owner of the vineyard, that's God, will take away its hedge. It will be burned and destroyed. He will break down its wall. It will be trampled and walked on. He will make the vineyard a wasteland. It will not be trimmed. It will not be pruned. It will not be cultivated. Weeds and thorns will grow there, and he will command the clouds not to rain on it. So this actually you can see the similarities with what actually happened to Israel. So the walls were broken down by the enemies, were trampled and walked on. The city became not just a city, but the entire country became a wasteland. As we read earlier, it was what's left to rule, just a ruin. Then verse 7 says, "The vineyard belonging to the Lord all-powerful is the nation of Israel. The garden that he loves is the people of Judah. He looked for justice, but there was only killing. He hoped for right living, but there was only cries of pain. The NIV again is a different one. It says, "The vineyard of the Lord Almighty is the nation of Israel and the people of Judah, and the vines he delighted in." Sorry, the vineyard of the Lord Almighty is the nation of Israel, and the people of Judah are the vines he delighted in. And he looked for justice, but saw bloodshed, for righteousness, but heard cries of distress. And so that is actually the end of that section. If you have any questions, you can send that to me on Discord. The username is written there. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can add in the comment section below. So today we actually covered two sections. We covered chapter 4 and chapter 5, verse 1 up to verse 7. So chapter 5, verse 1 up to 7 is called the Song of the Vineyard, or Israel, the Lord's Vineyard. Chapter 4, which we read, is called the Branch of the Lord. And the next bit, which is chapter 5, part 2, or which is verse 8 onwards, up till the end of chapter 5, which is verse 30. That part is called Woes and Judgments. So we will be doing that next time. The date is to be announced. Time is the same, at 9:30 p.m. for Indian Standard Time, 4 p.m. for GMT, 11 a.m. for EST. So we'll see you next time. And also, I think that's here. Yes. We are also currently doing another study, The Rock That Wrote and the Rabbi by Catholic Gifford. And we did session 1, session 2, and now we're on session 3. So session 2 was called Nazareth Ministry Headquarters. And I'm sorry, give me a moment. And what we're having now is session 3, Capernaum Ministry Headquarters. So if you want to join yourself, you can go to BibleGateway.com/rock. Once again, BibleGateway.com/rock. It is BibleGateway.com/ROCK. No spaces, just, yeah, altogether like that. BibleGateway.com/rock. And I encourage you to join this study. It's very good, and I think it's free as well. So yeah, I will see you next time. And until then, God bless.